Welcome to California, Mr. Bond.
Hello. We're back. How's it going?
Hello.
Welcome,
How
welcome.
are you, Neil?
I'm doing well. What's going on with you in the Bond,
Oh,
the world of James Bond?
the world of
And you.
James Bond.
Yeah,
Yes. And me, well, the world of James Bond is always happening to me. And
that's good.
it's things have been good. We had a great meetup at the Aviator.
We did. That was a fun bar. It was
A
very
lot of people.
airplane themed, like
Oh yeah.
vintage plane lounge sort of vibe, like 50s, 60s feel. So that was fun.
Yeah.
I had a good time. I had a good crowd. So,
Yeah. I love the little touch of in the little corner of the bar, there's that old TV,
oh, yeah,
tube
that was fun.
television, and they were playing For Your Eyes Only, and it had like the old kind of snow
Yeah.
on it, and that was
Yeah,
great. A little bit of time travel.
yeah, the bartenders and hosts there got really into the like where like with like the outfits and the
Oh
captain's
man, it's
uniform and all that stuff.
yeah.
So,
Oh, it's
so
great. Shout out to Alex,
yeah, I'd go
the
back
bar's
there.
owner. Yeah, he accommodated us, really duded it up. It was nice. The cocktails are great.
Yeah, it was
The
good.
I had sliders, those were really good. The food is nice.
Affordable too. I thought it was going to be more expensive, but it was fine. So for
Oh
the
yeah, the
most part,
prices were
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. So that was good.
Yeah.
So
So if
we
you're in
recommend
LA,
it.
go to
Aviator.
Aviator on Melrose for a
Yeah,
little golden age of travel.
it's fun. It's a good time. I'll definitely go back there. So
Yeah. Speaking of travel, um, I'll just mention my brother was supposed to be today's his birthday. It's the day
oh,
before
happy birthday.
Halloween, and
Yeah,
my brother was supposed to be in Golden Eye, Jamaica,
nice.
bringing in his 40th year. And of course, we've all
But
seen the news. And
but yeah.
but yeah, so the island was hit pretty hard. Golden Eye itself, they had mentioned that the minimal damage, but there's some cleanup, and they're going to be helping out a lot of the other communities on the
Mm,
island. So sounds like uh, sounds like there's going to be a little bit of rebuilding going on,
okay.
but the birthplace of Bond survived,
Okay.
and it sounds like everyone there is safe, and we hope that everyone else on the island too, and
Yeah.
all the heart of the because there were communities that were just man, it was
Yeah.
terrifying to look at, but you
Hmm.
know. There's if you go to GoldenEye's Instagram or their web, there's donation links that you can go and pony up a little money and help out the whole island
Okay.
and everybody that was hit. So, and Chris, you'll get there.
And he'll be going there on Friday then, right? No, I'm joking.
I don't know whether
He'll be going there next week. No.
yeah, the whole thing is probably not this week. Yeah, the whole thing is has been like rescheduled
Yeah, I'm sure it'll
and
work out for him.
but yeah, he I told him I said just bring home some Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee
All right, cool.
for us. So and traveling again, what do we have going on tonight?
We are going to the Peterson Car Museum for the Aston Martin opening, which I'm pretty psyched about actually. So it should be
Yeah,
good. I don't know how much. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some Bond stuff up, but it's like a retrospective, all the cars, so it should be cool. I'm very
yeah.
psyched about that. So,
Company has a
and
really fascinating history that goes back
yeah,
long time, and
and complimentary wine as well, so you can't complain about that.
hey,
And
free
food,
drinks are always nice.
yeah, right. No, but it definitely sounds good, so I'm very
Yeah,
psyched for
there
that.
are a few, from what I understand, there's going to be a few screen used Astons from
Oh,
some of the
cool.
Bond movies
Okay, cool.
that are going to be on display, so that'll be pretty cool.
Nice. So you can see pictures of that when we're all done, so it should be good.
Yes,
And that leads us into our guest. Who was our guest?
that's right. Brad Hansen,
Yeah,
James
car
Bond
expert.
super fan and car expert extraordinaire.
Yeah, he's going to be at the thing tonight actually too.
That's
So
right. Both he and his
yeah,
wife Athena are going to be
yeah.
there.
So we had a wonderful talk with him. Very, very not only into cars, knows the entire history of James Bond cars. I know a bit, but not as much as Brad does. Or I mean,
Yeah,
there's always people in fandom that know more than you do. So
yeah.
that even if you know this much, there's people that know like this much. So that's
Yeah.
wonderful to talk with people like that. So he knows the models, really into like Pierce Brosnan stuff. So that's fun. That
Mhm.
was super fun to talk to him. So
And he's someone that really knows how to drive a car. I know that sounds a little kind of weird and silly to say. We all have driver's licenses. We're in
yeah,
LA. We drive cars. I mean, but Brad, you'll hear in our conversation with him that he really knows. how to
How to
drive
drive his
cars.
car. I just
Yeah.
drive my car. That's all I do.
Yeah.
I just go from place to place. So I don't do like
I'm just
flips.
excited I have a moon roof,
I don't do
that's
flips. I don't do the stick shift and do a spin or anything like that.
yeah.
I'd probably
But
die.
Brad
So
can.
Brett can. I would probably die. And with my son in the back, that probably wouldn't be the best move. So, so there we go. So that about wraps it up. Other than that, no real Bond news really. I don't think so. There's nothing really. The report is scanning my brain. There is nothing. So yeah. So let's go right
Yes.
into Brad Hansen, shall we?
All right. Pedal to the metal.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back, Steve. How's it
Why,
going? And please tell the audience our illustrious guest, Steve.
we have Brad Hansen,
Yay!
car guru extraordinaire,
Yeah, very excited. Thank you
and
for being
James
here.
Bond superfan with us
Yeah,
today. This is
he is.
awesome.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks
so,
for having me, guys.
of course.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, well, we're very happy to have you. Your expertise is cars and cars in general, but also James Bond cars. So we thought that's a topic that we've never actually talked a lot about. So it's about time that we do that. So
Hey,
yeah,
This is I'll be totally honest with you, Brad. I'm not a car guy. I really am like, oh, I have a car. Yeah.
so do I. Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. And I get excited about things like, the cars and Mad Max movies and James Bond and stuff like that, but that's as deep as I get.
right.
So I'm looking forward to picking your brain about a
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Sure.
All right. All right. Well, let's just start. We generally ask this question, but tell us how you got into James Bond, man.
Well, it's funny that you cars got me into James Bond.
There you go.
That was the vehicle that I got into.
Wow.
So I've been obsessed with cars since I was a very, very little kid.
Mhm.
Basically, GoldenEye was coming out. And by that point, I was obsessed with, I got some props to show you.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
By that point, I was obsessed with car magazines.
Nice.
I would read them religiously as a kid. And I noticed in this ad kept on appearing. Do you guys remember this one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And for those who can't really see it, the bottom has this little ad sign. It says, "For sale, Aston Martin, dark green, bulletproof glass, ejector seat, rocket launcher, all these other things. Call this number and ask for Q." The kid is that he sold the Aston Martin that he had daylights for this BMW Z3.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can see this ad, but look at this exciting sequence. It's got a Hummer
there's
chasing
like
the Z3. There's
Fireball.
explosion.
Yeah, I know.
The guys in the Hummer are firing at the BMW, and I'm like,
Too dramatic.
what is this movie? This sounds awesome. I want to see this movie. And the car looks really cool. So I asked my parents, I was 10, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I wasn't 13. I was a few years shy, and very strict parents who would not let me see anything that was PG-13 before I was 13. So I asked them, like, can I see this movie? They're like, no. I was very, very bummed. But at least I was aware of James Bond, and I knew that James Bond had cool cars, right?
Mhm.
And so from that point, I played, obviously, the GoldenEye video game, like I think everyone did who was our generation. Even though I hadn't seen the movie, and so I was kind of interested in Bond. And then a couple years come around, and now I'm 13, and Tomorrow Never Dies is out. Once again, car magazines at the time have lots of cool ads showing the new Bond vehicle, right? So this is for Tomorrow Never Dies, and it says, how could Bond possibly be faithful to just one, is what it says, right?
Yeah.
You can see it has the Z3 from the previous movie.
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
The BMW motorcycle, and then the BMW 7 Series that he drives in Tomorrow Never Dies.
Mm-hmm.
So this was my first James Bond movie because my parents couldn't say no, so I went out to see it, and it was an amazing experience. It was like a light switch went off, and I was suddenly a James Bond fan at age 13. I inhaled them all in like 1 year. I just watched every single Bond movie that Blockbuster had, totally out of order, just whatever they had. Read every single book. Every video game I get my hands on. I was like an overnight James Bond fan because of the cars. So the cars were the reason I got into Bond.
Gateway drug, yeah.
In retrospect, I'm very, very glad that this was my first one, because if I would have seen GoldenEye expecting that crazy chase that was in that ad, I would have been like, wait a minute, that was it?
I was just gonna say that
It's
ad
just
you
a
showed
tank
us,
though
that
in the movie. That's it.
that car got way more action in that ad than it did in the entire movie.
Right, right. I'm really glad that that was my first movie. Obviously, the car action in Tomorrow Never Dies is spectacular.
It
I
is.
still think that's one of the best car chases they've ever done.
It's good.
Yeah.
The whole sequence with the BMW in the parking garage
Oh yeah.
is just phenomenal. And yeah, I mean, as a 13, it's still not my favorite movie, but as a 13-year-old boy, it was amazing. It was,
Yeah.
girls and
Yeah.
cars and guns and action, and it was like, who was this guy? And I was just all in on Bond from that point.
I think it's definitely those first two are his best. I mean, that's what I think. I mean, Pierce Brosnan. So, I mean, World's Not Enough is good, but it has some problems too. So, but
Sure.
Feels a little heavy at some points.
Yeah.
Like it's a little long, but
yeah,
I will always have a soft nostalgic part of my heart for all the Brosnan movies because
Yeah.
that's what got me into Bond. He was my
Yeah.
Bond. I still think he was a fantastic
he was
all around Bond and obviously the right guy for the time. And
Yeah.
Tomorrow Never Dies was the right movie for me.
Sounds
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
We just screened Die Another Day, and there was some concern that people weren't going to like it or show up, but it was packed, so we were very happy about
And
it.
everybody had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who hadn't seen it in a while were commenting about how, I forgot that, there's a good chunk of that movie that's just a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
also another great that car chase on the ice is fantastic.
Yeah.
They use every gadget and that car has to offer in that movie in a span of like just a handful of minutes, and it's pretty crazy.
I do think they learned a lesson in GoldenEye from not like teasing a car because as much as I'll get to this later, but I actually my wife and I owned a BMW Z3 a few years ago.
Oh,
just
wow.
like that car. So I still like the car, but like as far as its utilization in the movie, I think they really learned like, you can't show this car and explain all the gadgets and then not have it pay off later. It just feels like a lit down.
Yeah.
And they course corrected really quickly. And I don't think we've ever had that sort of thing happen after that point. But it was a brilliant marketing exercise on BMW's part because of this is a little known fact for you. So a lot of people think that Z3 got in the movie because BMW paid a lot of money to the Bond producers to get the BMW, on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there was, as far as my research can tell, because I've seen some like marketing papers on this, no money exchanged hands either way. It was totally,
I didn't know that.
It was mutually beneficial, and it worked out great from a marketing perspective, right? So BMW had this car that they never really had a little roadster like that before, and they had a lot riding on it, so they wanted it to be a success. At the same time, the James Bond series was coming back out, being resurrected from the dead. And it was not a sure thing that it was going to be a success. So they were putting a lot of, any sort of marketing advantage they could get. So what they basically did was that every time that BMW had an ad, the deal was that they had to say like, see GoldenEye in theaters, right? So it kind of, both BMW and James Bond franchise helped each other with the marketing. No money exchange place.
Yeah, that's cool.
BMW, and it worked great. Obviously, GoldenEye was a huge success and kickstarted the franchise again, in part because of ads like that almost worked on me if my parents would let me. And then also BMW sold out their first year of that car before it was even out. Like they pre-sold the first full year was gone because of the movie.
That's
and the
good.
advertising that was there. So it worked out really well for both parties in that case. But there was no money exchange. It was just...
I did not know that. Yeah, I remember that was pretty controversial at the time. Like people were like, why is this in this? I remember that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, because you could argue that BMW helped James Bond become, successful again. It had at least a small percentage of helping GoldenEye's gross, revenues from the extra marketing push that BMW provided. And they marketed it very heavily. There were TV ads,
I remember.
There was that. I mean, for a very little screen time.
Yeah.
It definitely helped the franchise. Yeah.
And I remember years ago too, a buddy of mine pointed out, he said, if you're a James Bond fan, your dream car is an Aston Martin. but you can probably more than likely afford a BMW. So,
Yeah,
so
I
that
mean,
probably also did help put, people are like, I can get this.
yeah, and actually, I can just say that the reason that we ended up buying it, one for ourselves, is that if you really look at the spectrum of James Bond cars, like actual hero cars, not just like random car in background, but actual
Mhm.
hero cars, the BMW Z3, in my opinion, is the only James Bond vehicle that a person on a budget could buy and drive every day.
Mhm. Okay.
Because Aston Martins, Lotuses, because basically James Bond vehicles are going to be classic, very expensive, or they're going to break down all the time, including the BMW 7 Series from Tomorrow Never Dies. Those are going to be a litany
Oh.
of issues. If you're really on a strict budget, like let's say like $10,000 or less, the Z3 is actually, as BMWs go, it's about as reliable as you can get.
Okay.
And you can pick them up all day for 10 grand. They're not that expensive. They're pretty nice. They're not as reliable as a Miata, which I've also owned.
Mhm.
And honestly, not even as fun to drive. But the styling on these cars,
Yeah.
I mean, just look at these cars. I mean, they're
I
great
remember
looking
those.
cars, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they are
Yeah, I remember
beautiful
them.
vehicles. And we had one that was the exact color, spec,
Nice.
everything. And it was, it was a very fun daily driver that my wife and I drove for several years, and it wasn't too problematic. So yeah, that's the only one, in my opinion, that you can drive on a budget every day is the BMW Z3. So you budget BMW.
I'll go buy one right now. So
If your budget Bond guys out there, this is one to get. And
Now
also
you
this
tell me after I just get a new car.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, man, I should have done it earlier. But yeah, this color actually was very popular too. So it's not even that hard to find these colors.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's plenty of them out there. So yeah, that's the one I would recommend as a car guide.
There you go.
Yeah.
I even remember too, as when that movie came out, I had already been, watching Bond movies for a while and was into the traditions and everything. So, and seeing the ads and the idea of, oh, Bond's got a new ride, it's a
Yeah.
BMW, and Roger Moore didn't drive an Aston Martin his entire
No.
tenure, so it
Well,
wasn't
sort
like,
of. I don't know, man. Cannonball Run, I sort of
Oh,
up in there. He drives the DB5 Cannonball Run, which is kind of weird, but yeah.
and they
Speaking
did bring his Aston Martin from the Persuaders
of,
into
Right.
into the new video game, which I think is a pretty interesting cut.
Yes, that's
That's
right.
a
The
neat little
BBS.
reference.
Yeah, yeah.
so let's ask you this: what is your favorite book, and what's your favorite film for Bond?
Okay, well, despite the BMW not really doing
Yeah.
anything, I do think GoldenEye is probably my favorite
Mhm.
movie. It's between that or Casino Royale,
Yeah.
the Martin Campbell movie. I think Martin Campbell is by far the best director we've ever had for
Yeah.
Bond.
I agree.
I think both of his movies are like very top tier.
Oh, yeah.
GoldenEye, like the only thing I can even nitpick is like the car thing and the
And the
score.
soundtrack. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, the score isn't
Music,
great. It
music
doesn't
always
kill it for me, but everything else is so
Yeah.
good, and I never ever get tired of watching that
Mhm.
Yeah.
movie. So that's probably my favorite movie. The book is, well, I have two books here. They're my favorites. My favorite is Majesty's. I think
Mhm.
it's my all-time favorite book. I
Yeah.
don't think there's any book that I enjoy reading more than this one.
Yeah, that's great.
In some ways, I even like it better than the movie.
Mm.
There's that amazing scene where Bond is undercover in Peace Gloria, right? And then it's kind of glossed over in the movie, but there's like, a fellow agent that gets caught hiking there, right?
Yeah.
That amazing scene in the book where the hiker guy sees Bond and is kind of like almost gives away the game. And
Yeah.
he's like, Bond, you gotta help me. And Bond's undercover, just like sweating bullets. And he's just like, sorry, I've never seen this guy before.
I don't know who this dude is. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, but it's a great
remember.
scene.
Yeah.
And the whole book, I
Yeah.
think, really does a good job of getting Bond's head. And it's just a very exciting book, and it's Fleming on top for him.
Yeah.
My favorite continuity novel, though, is probably either High Time to Kill by Raymond Benson. But for this podcast, I'm going to say it's For Special Services.
Okay.
Brian Gardner, this was his second book. And the reason I love this one is that for the first three books, James Bond drove a Saab, Saab 900 Turbo, which is a very unusual car for Bond to drive, right? But at the time in the early 80s, it was a very neat car. It was a very high-tech car with a turbocharger back in the days where turbocharging wasn't very common in cars. Nowadays, a lot of cars have it because it's very efficient. But back then, it was to make the car faster. So Bond had this thing called the Silver Beast, which was a car that he modified, or he paid people to modify, not Q Branch. And it had like a turbocharger and all these fun little gadgets. And this book has got this amazing scene where he has to get into like the bad guy's graces. He has to like race his Saab 900 Turbo against, I think it's like a classic Ford Mustang on a racetrack.
Mm.
The guy's like, and it's great. It's a terrific scene because it's like, it's sort of like all the Bond books. They have that scene where like James Bond has to do some sort of game with the villain, whether it's golf or whatever, and the villain's always cheating, right? Well, the Mustang guy cheats by like dropping bombs or something. And then Bond has his fire extinguishing system in his car, and just as a car person, it's just an amazing, fun time reading that. And this is just a great book in general. So yeah,
is that the one where Spectre comes back? Is that or yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's a really fun book. It's by far my favorite John Gardner book. If you're gonna read one, just read this one. Yeah.
Okay. I believe John Cox recommended that one too. So.
Yeah, it's a great one. Yep. Yeah. John Cox used to have a Saab 900 Turbo because
he did. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Your first, okay. What was the first car you ever purchased?
It would be, so I was only 14 at the time.
Wow. Okay.
Where I'm from, which is Iowa, you could drive a car with a guardian or with an adult with you at age 14, and then a year later you could drive to school and back or work and back, and then a year later you were 16 and you could just drive the car. So I had my first car at age 14.
Wow. Okay.
And I was counting down the days I was a car nerd since birth. And I was really wanting like a really cool car, really fast car, something neat. But my parents, maybe wisely, understood that I was a speed demon in waiting. They saw me playing video games and how badly I was, driving. And so they wanted me to have a big, old, slow tank. So my first car was a 1978 Chevy Caprice Classic.
Okay.
To sort of put it in perspective, if you're not into cars, imagine in the airplane sequence in Live and Let Die, that chase, Bond's in that little tiny plane, and there's these big Chevys chasing him around. It's kind of one of those, if that puts you in mind, right? And it was not a fast car. It was very slow, even though it had a 350 V8, which is a decent engine. It was just a big giant tank because they knew that I would probably get in an accident if I didn't, or if I didn't, I would try really hard. So that was the first car I got. Now, granted, I had to pay. It wasn't like they didn't buy it for me. I had to work it off. It was $2,200 at the time. So it's been like late 90s. And I had to work it off using, basically they loaned me the money to buy the car. I did not have $2,200 as a 14-year-old. And then I just paid it off over mowing lawns and things like that because it was big enough I could fit. It was such a big car that I could fit a lawnmower in the trunk. That's how big these cars are. But yeah, that was my first car. I've now owned something like 24 cars.
Wow.
Over time, thankfully, worked my way up in speed. Now I have a Corvette and I can handle it. But thankfully, I'm glad I didn't start out with a really fast car because I would have wrecked it immediately.
Oh boy,
doing something stupid like donuts or driving.
I can tell you, I wrecked my first car.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, the odds of anyone, much less a speed demon like myself, wrecking their first car is really high. It's like 25% or 30% that you're going to get an accident in your first 2 years of driving or something like that. So, in retrospect, I'm glad my parents were strict on that account. It's probably for the better. Yeah.
My accident wasn't, and I wasn't a crazy driver either. I literally ran we were living in Norfolk, Virginia at the time, and there was this road, Hampton Boulevard, where every other light at this particular time they had switched off and they were doing work on. So I was like middle of the day, like noon. I remember I had like half a day at school. I was a senior in high school. My mother was right behind me because we both went to get gas in our cars and we were just driving back home. And I ran one of these bald lights thinking that I had a green one. And, the sunlight's like directly like on my face. It's high noon and everything. Next thing I know, wham, just accordion the whole car. It was a 79 AMC Concorde.
Wow. So it was, okay. So that's similar to my big old, the big old boat. I'm reminded looking at the AMC spiral jump behind you there. One of the stunts I always wanted to do that I was always impressed by in Man with the Golden Gun. It's very little, but it's one where Bond is like, here, I'll use this as an example. Another Bond. But Man with the Golden Gun, he's like going the wrong way down the street and he has to stop and he reverses and he does like this perfect one of those. As if the car's on ball bearings. So I can't tell you as a kid, I go to the high school parking lot when it was snowing and try to figure out those maneuvers and like stunt driving stuff. As it turned out, I became an independent filmmaker, and I would always put in little tiny car stunts that I could drive myself. So I was sort of an amateur stunt driver for a little bit, just from figuring car control out and how to do those kind of maneuvers in the snow. The snow really helps because you don't have to go so fast to make it happen. Yeah.
How difficult is it to like figure some of those car tricks out and stuff like that?
Well, the internet would sort of tell me, like, here's what you should do. But generally, like anything, it's like feel. So like that particular trick it's essentially like with car control, it's essentially, it's all about weight balance, weight transfer. Where is the weight going on the car, right? Because if you accelerate, the weight's going to the back. If you brake, the weight goes the weight goes to the front, right? So that maneuver is pretty simple. All you got to do is just lit off, go really fast, right? So I'm going really fast in reverse, then lit off the gas suddenly. That transfers the weight more to the front, and that makes the front light so that you can then spin around and off you go. So it's like think about weight transfer. If you think of it like a half a bottle, like if you had like a bottle of like a water bottle, right, on its side and it's half full. And then you think about where the weight's going when you tilt it. And in my brain, once I figured that out, driving became really fun and easy. And that's how you can drive fast. That's how you can do those little stunts, is by just thinking about weight transfer, basically.
Oh,
so,
wow.
So yeah,
That's
I always
wild.
love, and all the car chases in Bond movies or any other movie I've watched hundreds of times, like hundreds of times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's
Can't
funny
get
because I used to think like, oh, that stuff, it's, they have a team of stunt guys and there's like, the corkscrew stunt, they work that out on a computer. There's scientists, there's experts, so there's no way that an actual spy or an agent is, getting into a situation where he's got it. And then I saw this interview with a retired MI6 guy who said, oh, no, they train all of us how to use your vehicle as a weapon, how to like basically drive it like it's like walking or something like that. And he goes, the only problem is, he goes, if you're in a situation where you're in a car chase, your mission is over. You failed.
right. Yeah.
Have you spoken to stunt drivers that were in Bond films? I'm sure you have,
I
right?
have actually.
Yeah.
One of my first gigs in college, I had a summer job working on the set of Batman Begins in Chicago.
Cool.
Which was really great. In Chicago, they shot mostly what they shot there. It was mostly exterior stuff, but then they shot the whole car chase with the Batmobile tumbler, big chase by the police mostly. And I talked to one of the guys, and I can't remember his name now, but he was somebody who worked on all the Bond movies. And I had a great time talking to him about like some of the things that they did and how they approach it. And part of why I love watching car chases in movies is that you got to keep in mind that's one of the hardest things to film is a car chase, because you have to lock it. My job was just a lock up PA, so production assistant, and literally my job was like, if a Batmobile's coming around this corner, some idiot has to stand in the alleyway and make sure no one walks into the Batmobile's path. If a homeless person or a random citizen, like they have to be stopped. So, or a car that comes out of nowhere, someone has to be there, be like, no, hold on, and then the Batmobile will drive past and like that sort of thing, right? And so yeah, it was fun to be able to talk to some of the stunt performers from that, especially. And it's a really interesting, in the alternate universe, I would be a stunt driver probably, because it would have been really fun to go down that path. It's like a ballet. Everything is very choreographed and specific and made to look like it's out of control, but usually it's not. Sometimes usually happen. But no, it's a really fascinating thing. So I can watch car chases again and again just because I know all the care and planning that goes into them. And it's a work of art when it really comes together.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I have a two-part question bouncing off of that. What's your favorite car chase out of all of James Bond, or what you think is like the most representative of what a Bond car chase is, like quintessential Bond car chase? And then outside of that, what do you think is the best car chase in movie history?
Okay, that's a great question. My favorite car chase movie history would be Ronin. Which is a 1998 movie by John Frankenheimer.
Yeah.
Watching as a Bond fans because there are 3 James Bond villain actors in that one movie, right?
Yeah.
Bad guy from GoldenEye, bad guy from Moonraker, bad guy from Tomorrow Never Dies.
That's right. Yeah.
The movie as a whole is like a okay, decently good thriller, but there's two car chases in it that are both like some of the best ever filmed. Frankenheimer is a director who really loved cars, understood how they operated, and all of it was filmed for real. There's no CGI really in the chases. It's really close quarters, extremely precise driving by these people in France to get these cars to, go the wrong way and almost hit. It's just an extremely exciting car chases. As far as Bond goes, my favorite car chase is actually one that's not. It's like the antithesis of a car chase, which is the one in Free Eyes Only with the little Citroen.
Oh, oh yeah.
And I love that one because Bond has to outdrive the bad guys. Like a big reason I love that movie in general is that Bond has to use his guts and his skills to get out of situations. He can't just press a button and have a gadget to save him.
Yeah.
Which is more maybe the classic James Bond car chase formula. I like that one though because he has to outdrive the bad guys. He uses cleverness and to figure out like, okay, well this car isn't very fast, but it can do decently off road. So because those suspensions on those two CVs, so that yellow car that he has, was designed to really soak up bumps in like Parisian fields or like in French farms, right? And so his cleverness to take the car off road and like that's how he wins today, is really clever. And just the way that again that sequence is filmed, it's very, very hairy.
Yeah, it's
Lots
good.
of great stunt work and really precise driving by I think Remy Julien was the stunt guy on that one. And then just the great 80s music by Bill Conti. I don't know, I just love that chase.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I can never get over that one. I always love that one. It's probably my favorite of the whole series. Yeah.
Yeah, because you think the Lotus will be his car, and then they blow it up, and then you have to go for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna screen that. When are we gonna screen that? In March, right?
That's in March, yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna screen that. So
what's the date? I might have to go to that one.
I'll pull it up for you right now. Let me look. It is. I have the count right here. It is March 24th.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Hopefully I can make that one. I love For Eyes Only. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's a very understated Roger film. So, and I don't want to blow it for people that I've been seeing the film, but there's a lot of moments where he's not the Roger more that you think he is. So, which I love. So,
to me, it's a great blend.
Bill Conti's score. That score is so good.
That's
probably my favorite non-Barry score from the series. It's got a little bit of that disco from The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah.
But the rhythm section in that especially in the ski chase when the motorcycles are chasing him, like holy cow, that stuff slaps. I mean, I can listen to that over and over again.
Yep. No, it's a great blend of the Fleming with the Roger Moore and the movies at the time.
Yeah.
And I think John Glenn did a great. I do think Martin Campbell is my favorite Bond director, but I think John Glenn is the most underrated because he had to film in an era when the series was not increasing budgets. And essentially, the budgets were essentially the same, or if you adjust for inflation, going down. But I think to his credit, like to me, he had the tightest box that he had to work in. He didn't have much money. He didn't have much time. And the fact that those movies, to me, all play good to great, I think was a real credit to him. John Glenn was a TV director, and I think that really helped him. He knew where he could save money and you wouldn't notice on the screen. You know what I mean? Like none of the movies seemed that cheap. I mean, License to Kill kind of seems cheap, but that was a really cheap movie. So, but it still has spectacle and action when it really matters. Yeah.
Yeah. And they all, in each one of them too, you can tell they're all John Glenn movies, but there's something about them that have such a unique identity, specific to that film.
Yeah.
Not to say that, if you didn't know who directed it, you wouldn't know it was John Glenn, but he's able to kind of hide himself. Is sort of he services the movie rather than, I've got my tricks, I've got my style or anything, and that ends up being his style. Bond kind of, he was the Bond of every Bond movie in the 80s.
Yep.
Was his hand.
Yeah. To me, the best Bond movies are the ones where you can't really feel the director. Where he's the magician behind the scenes. The ones that I like the least are the ones like like, I don't know, No Time to Die, Quantum of Solace, where you had these more art house guys. And you
Yeah.
can just tell at times that you can sort of sense them trying too hard
Making
Yeah.
a prestige
or something.
movie.
Yeah. No,
I
I
think the
agree.
one prestige Bond movie that played the best by having the director like just really firing all cylinders was Majesties.
Hmm.
Like just
Yeah, but I don't know though,
everything
because
about that movie.
Peter Hunt to me was not a prestige director. He was an
No.
editor more
Yeah, that
than
was his
Yeah.
first job, I think, as a
yeah.
director.
So to
Yeah.
me, in the same way that John Glenn kind of started out doing second unit stuff, it was like a promotion from within that from a guy that really understood James Bond with Peter Hunt. Like he understood how they went together. And one of my favorite cars that is not a James Bond car is in that movie, which is Tracy's Cougar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think her Cougar is such a neat car. It doesn't make any sense why she would have this massive behemoth American convertible in the middle of winter, in the middle of, you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
just such a neat car. And I don't think Bond ever drives that one either, but I think it's just such a neat car. And I have great memories of a few years back, my wife, Athena, and I were able to go to this exhibit, Bond in Motion,
Ah.
at the
Oh,
Peterson.
I went to it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not
Steve
for the
missed
world.
it. Steve had no idea that
Well,
was going on.
The one in LA, I found out about it somehow.
I
I found
I
out
live
about
by
it
the
the
car
day
museum.
after it closed, but I did
Oh,
go to
that's
the one in DC.
okay. Yeah,
So-
it's essentially the same. So
Yeah.
they travel the world. It's an amazing exhibit. What was neat about that one is that we were able to go with George Lazenby.
Oh,
We have a friend who is George Lazenby's publicist, and so we went with them, and it was really neat to go and see George Lazenby reunite with this car,
that's awesome.
the Tracy's
God.
Cougar that he hadn't seen in probably like 40, 50 years or something like that. He wasn't very sentimental about it, which was hilarious. He was just like, here's that old thing, because Lazenby was actually a bit of a car guy too. He used
He was
to
a
sell-
salesman.
That's right. He used to sell cars. So and he raced motorcycles, which a lot of people don't know about. After Bond, he was racing
I
motorcycles.
didn't know that.
Yeah, cross country, pretty gnarly stuff. And
Wow.
so he had a real appreciation for cars. So that was really neat to go to the museum with him and got to really talk to him about cars
That's
and his
cool.
experience filming and everything else. Yeah.
Oh wow.
The crazy thing about Peter Hunt is he directed that film and never came back to Bond again after that. They offered him many chances to come back, but I guess he just did not want to come back after that. So I don't know.
Weird. Yeah.
Personal choice.
The other movies that he had done that I had seen, like I just feel that's why I was saying earlier, like Majesties feels like a prestige movie because also because he was an editor and he had to fix all these things that they didn't get on set.
Right.
And so he went into that, of course, with I know exactly what I need and what to get, and so it came off as like the most like well constructed of the Bond movies at that point. But then, what did he do? Didn't he do Gold with Roger Moore?
Roger Moore.
Yeah. And I don't remember. There was another movie I remember of his, but those films they were fun, but they never felt like they reached the height that Majesties did creatively and technically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll be doing that in January actually as well. So
Yeah,
so
Nice.
that'll be cool. What thrills you about collecting cars?
Well, I should start with I'm not a car collector. A car
Okay.
collector is somebody like, let's say, Jay Leno.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
Was like 70 cars.
yeah, who has like a bunch of cars. To me, a car collector is somebody who has more cars than they could ever drive. So
Okay.
like over 5 cars, let's say. Then to me, you're a collector. Then you're somebody where you have cars and there's no way to experience more than 5 or 6 cars. Like if you're a single person and you have 5 or 6 cars, a lot of them are just sitting around. You're not really able to drive them as often as you could. So to me, like for example, I just have 2 cars, my wife's car and my car. I have a 2003 Corvette. She has a 2002 Thunderbird, which is kind of similar to the one that you see Jinx drive in Die Another Day for like, again, 5 seconds to build the movie and the car. And so to me, I'm not really a car collector. I'm more of a car enthusiast, I would say.
Okay.
And so, but what excites me about being a car enthusiast and cars in general is there's a lot of things. I guess the number one thing is I think it's a fascinating intersection of art and engineering, because cars are things that are engineered and designed to have a purpose, right? Or to do something. But at the same time, there's an artfulness to it. They have a beauty inherent, hopefully, to the exterior, the interior, how they make you feel. There's an artistry to making cars as well as the engineering aspect to it. And very difficult to get a car right, especially nowadays. There's so many things, each car has thousands of pieces and parts that have to work together and then pass emissions and pass safety regulations, all these different things. It's very hard to make a good car, overall a good car. And to me, cars are a great vessel for experiences. Talking about collecting versus driving cars, to me, cars can be either a thing or an experience. And what science has proven is that what actually makes you happy is experiences, not things. And that's why even if I had a bunch of money, I don't think I could collect too many cars, because I would always want cars to experience cars. If you just have a thing and you're one of those collectors and you have a bunch of cars and you have like an old, I don't know, Corvette that's never driven and you just point at it, it might make you happy, sort of, but not really. Not the way that an experience can. And cars can be experiences that can take you places. They can lead to adventures. To me, I love the feeling of driving a car in a canyon road is like second to none. And a lot of the James Bond novels really do a good job of like writing like Bond driving, and he's just enjoying the drive and having a great time and connecting with the vehicle. There's an artistry to driving a car quickly, not only with weight balance, but also especially if it's a manual transmission car, which I always will prefer, shifting at the right time, heel and toe down shifting, which is where you have to hit all three pedals at once with 2 feet, getting that down. To me, car driving, especially in the canyons, can help you be present. It helped me learn how to be present. Like, it helped rewire my mind to be present, because when you're hurtling around a canyon road and you're thinking about weight balance, weight transfer, tire grip, shifting, heel into downshifting, you have no choice but to think about what are you doing at this moment, because if you screw it up, you'll hit the guardrail or fly off the edge, right? So that'll kind of teach you to be present. So, and there's a certain nirvana with driving a responsive car, especially on a canyon road or somewhere where it's on a track or wherever it is. And that's always something that's excited me. And then also just, the history of cars and how fun they are and how neat they are to see, and to just, I enjoy working on my own cars to a certain extent. There's just a lot to be enjoyed with the hobby. And it's important to note, you don't have to be super rich to enjoy the hobby. A good chunk of the cars, the few dozen cars I've owned, were like, under $6,000 cars.
Oh, wow.
So, there's fun cars out there for everybody if you look hard enough for it. And it's just a hobby I've always been into since I was very little, and I've always enjoyed, and it's always been very satisfying. And the amount of friends I met through that hobby, in the same way that you meet lots of friends through the James Bond hobby, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with cars. As long as you can geek out with something, you already have this shorthand to be friends with them and have a good time. So I enjoyed car racing and all that stuff. So there's a lot. I could go on for hours, but I'll stop.
No, right? I know, I can tell.
And you parlayed this into a very successful YouTube channel.
Thank you. So my YouTube channel is called Retro Cars Forever. It primarily covers my 3 favorite decades of cars, which is 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Those are my favorite cars, are usually in that realm. And those are the cars generally I've owned are in those decades. Before that, cars are kind of classics, or they're too slow or too unsafe to drive every day. After that, cars started getting very complicated, and kind of lost a bit of, they kind of added features that I don't personally need. So I like the simplicity of cars that were made kind of before the 2010s. And just generally, I think cars looked nice and were fast enough to be really fun and efficient enough to be fun and comfortable enough. So that to me is like the sweet spot. But yeah, Retro Cars Forever, the name of the channel. Currently, I also do a lot of videos on Corvettes. The video I'm working on right now is I'm driving one of every Corvette generation. There's 8.
Oh, wow.
Starting in the 1950s to today, there's 8 different generations. So I'm driving one of every car. I just drove the first generation Corvette from this one was a 1960.
Wow.
And yeah, I've owned 3 of them. I've owned a C4, C5, C6, which is 80, basically 90s to 2000s. Currently own a C5. Sorry, I should explain. Corvettes have generations, and it's just C1 is the first generation, C2 second generation for those Corvette. C4 is the one that appears very briefly in View to a Kill.
Okay.
That would have came out very recently when that movie came out. And that's the one with the lights that kind of swivel upwards and they off when he meets with what's her face? Can't remember, the Russian agent.
Oh,
the movie for like 5 minutes. Yeah, she has
forget
a
it.
Corvette.
Yeah.
The bubbles tickle my Tchaikovsky.
Yes, they're her. Yes, yeah, exactly. There you go.
What? Okay, let me ask you this. So a DB5 or the Lotus? What do you prefer?
Oh boy. So
sorry.
If I had
the
all the
answer
money in
based
the world,
on
obviously I'd take a DB5 any day. I do think the DB5 is one of the most beautiful cars ever made, full stop. But I have always gravitated towards a Lotus Esprit just because, first of all, it's one that a mere mortal might be able to afford. They're extremely unreliable. So like being able to afford one is one thing. Being able to afford to drive it a lot is another. But I can see myself someday actually being able to have one as like a weekend only car at some point. I would love to have one of those. Actually, and the other reason, here, let me show you another little. This was the book that got me into cars as a very little kid, like 2 years old. I had this very book. It's very well
nice.
And one thing that's neat about it is, of course, the back has kind of one of Ryder's, very similar to one of Ryder's Lotus Esprits. And then also I found out there's lots of Bond cars here. Let me see. This car right here is like the Bentley. It's like the Bentley that Bond drives in Her Majesty's Secret Service, the book. He has a Bentley like that. He has a supercharged version.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of that, I think I've always loved that weird, crazy wedge styling of the Lotus Esprit. Another little thing I can show you. This is something I made in high school.
Oh wow! Look at that.
This is a coin
ceramic
that I use, but I made this. I made this by hand. I made this by hand in a ceramics class.
I gotta be careful there.
And it's the Lotus Esprit from Spy Who Loved Me that we had to just make something. And because it was, because the car is so wedge shaped and like flat, you can make it out of clay pretty easily. So this is one of my most favorite things I've kept, for over the years, and I still use it, as you can see.
I can tell.
But yeah, Lotus Esprit is probably my favorite. I just think it's a really cool looking car. I like Lotus. Is the big deal with Lotus was I'm sort of a minimalist myself, and the Lotus in general is a very minimalist car company. Their idea was Chapman, the guy who ran Lotus. His whole idea was, let's make the cars as light and simple as possible. In fact, his motto was simplify and add lightness.
Okay.
So, he made cars that were very fast, but had very small engines, were very light, simple cars. And I think that always appealed to me too. Beyond also just the minimalist shape of,
cool.
Very straight edge styling. I've always really loved with the Lotus. Yeah.
Even now, it looks very futuristic, like almost like a spaceship or something. And
yeah. You almost never see them driving around, but when you do, they look bizarre. They're so low to the ground and so simple looking.
Yeah,
they're fantastic designs. Yeah.
Was there one at Bond in Motion? I think there was. Or wasn't there one there? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure the Ferrari's only one was there.
Yeah. I remember.
Not in DC. The one in DC was missing a few vehicles because I think they went to Chicago. Like I know the Aston from Living Daylights, and there was a couple other vehicles that didn't hit DC that were in the Peterson.
Yeah.
Right. Hot take, by the way, as a car guy, the Daniel Craig movies. As much as I dislike No Time to Die, the car casting of the DB of the V8, the Aston Martin V8 that he has in that movie, to me fits Daniel Craig's Bond so much better than the Aston Martin DB5.
Yeah.
I know the DB5 is like the classic Bond car, but to me, when I think of Daniel Craig's Bond, I think of this kind of big battering ram of a guy.
Yeah.
Blast through walls and and is all about power, and this big muscly beat him up dude. That to me is Craig's Bond, and the 80s V8, the Dalton from the Dalton era is a heavy, fast, very built vehicle with a big engine. It's very heavy but fast.
Yeah.
And to me, the DB5 is a much more light, kind of pretty, a little bit more deft kind of car.
Yeah.
Now I have driven an Aston Martin DB6 that was that belonged to a friend of mine, which is very similar to DB5. And I mean, they still feel kind of heavy, but to me, like the character of that V8 really fits Craig's Bond more than the DB5 ever did. That's
just similar demeanor.
That also makes no sense why he has the DB5 in that continuity, though. Too. I mean, I guess I guess Goldfinger happened to him. I guess, and that. I mean,
or did you inherit this?
Yeah, I don't know.
This, James?
I try to think of it. I try to think of continuity in the Bond series as much as the creators do, which is usually very little.
Yeah.
So I just kind of go with it. Yeah.
It's the one franchise I've always been a real stickler for continuity. And if I saw a mistake, like I remember when Jurassic Park came out, was really wowed by it. Then my buddies went to go see it again. And all I did that second viewing was point out, oh man, they screwed up. There's a continuity. It's crazy for continuity. But when it comes to James Bond, I don't care. And I don't know why.
I guess from a filmmaking perspective, there's two kinds of continuity, right? There's continuity of like story or plot, which I think is mostly what we're talking about. But then there is on-set continuity or script continuity, which is in between shots.
Pointing in a different direction.
Right. Yeah. In between shots, does the background change suddenly?
Yeah.
Or is he holding a phone in his head and then you cut and he's not?
Yeah. His collar is
Die Another Day, or in Die Another Day, when he's talking to Jinx and he has the cigar and he's talking to her, the continuity of the cigar is all over. He's smoking it, he's not, it's back and forth, whatever. I'm actually a video editor by trade, and that's always something that's fascinating me is that kind of continuity, because a lot of times you're cutting for pace more than continuity. And depending on what's going on, you have to think to yourself, like, do I cut this for pacing or do I cut it where it's a smooth transition? And if you're someone like Peter Hunt, for example, he didn't care two hoots about continuity. He cared about the pace, the energy, the
jump cuts and that,
But then there's all these crazy jump cuts and footage that's sped up, or he'll even cut frames out of things to add energy to it. He didn't care. It's just about the vibe of it. Yeah.
I don't think anybody has cut like that since, really. They don't do that now. I mean, he definitely went off on his own tangents.
He
did. They do it now. It's so subtle. I remember Braveheart of all movies. Well, of all movies, because there's a lot of impact and sword hits and stuff. But I remember seeing an interview with Mel Gibson when the movie came out, and he said, oh, well, what we did to make it really aggressive was there were rubber weapons, but every impact where an actor was hit, we just trimmed 2 frames out. So it just looked really boom. And like almost like it was just enough where you can't actually tell something was cut, but it was also just enough to look really aggressive.
Right. One thing with editing, especially when I watch car chases, I think about the editing, right? Is car chases are really tricky. Also, not only do you have the ballet of stunt coordinating and making everybody safe and filming it, but the actual capturing of it is so important to get down right. One thing I love about Martin Campbell in particular is that we saw a screening at the Aero Theater with Martin Campbell like 12, 15 years ago. He was there and he did a Q&A, and the question I asked him was, how do you approach action sequences? Do you storyboard? Like, what do you do? And he says he was very matter of fact about it, right? Because in those movies, most of the time, he's not the one behind the camera filming it. That's the other thing, too. A lot of these Bond movies, the second unit is the one filming it. It's not the first unit. But with Martin Campbell, he went on and he would very carefully make the storyboards and then show them the second unit director. And he would literally tell them, do that. And when I asked him this question, he was like, it's very simple. I made the storyboards. And I told the second unit director to film the storyboards. And if he came back and he didn't film the storyboards, I tell him to go and do storyboards. Like, he was very religious about storyboards. And sure enough, if you see the storyboards from his movies, especially the action sequences, and you watch the action sequences, they're like one for one. There's like no change. Compared to somebody like Quantum of Solace. The director of Quantum of Solace is, I'm sorry, his name is
Mark Forster.
Mark Forster.
Mark, yeah.
The
Monsters
second
Ball, I think.
But the second unit director of that was the guy who did the Bourne movies, right?
Mhm.
And as much as I want to blame Mark Forster, well, first of all, I think Mark Forster doesn't understand action. He's just like, well, we're just going to have the second unit guys just do that, right?
Yeah.
And the second unit team for that, his name's also escaping me. The second unit director on Quantum of Solace, who did all the Bourne second unit stuff.
Well, I don't know.
And his way of doing it was the exact opposite. I talked to the editor, one of the editors of Quantum of Solace, and the way that they did those car chases, for example, there were no storyboards at all. It was all beat sheets. Had little beat sheets of, Bond's eyes. Bond sees bad guy. Bond door rips off. But then when you're filming it, you don't have what's called axis of action, right?
Yeah.
Which is a filmmaking term that if I have a shot and the car's going this way, right? If the next shot the car's going this way, it can be a little confusing, left to right and that kind of thing. And when you just do beat sheets and you're on set and you have no idea storyboard wise, it can be very difficult to figure out the line of action. And to me, Quantum of Solace, the reason the action sequences are a bit hard to follow is not just the fast editing, but also the filming of it. They just had beat sheets. They didn't have storyboards. No, if you watch the Martin Campbell movie, it's very clear that he had storyboards and he thought about flow. This shot connects to this shot and connects to this shot. You're never confused about where somebody is in relation to somebody else. John Glenn is good at this too. He'll put in these nice wide shots where you can understand the geography of the scene. Well, I do like the car chase in Quantum of Solace. It is very frenetic. And it's almost impossible to tell what's happening in the very
Yeah.
And then the quick editing doesn't help either. It doesn't do any favors. And then even the casting of the cars we're going to have a bunch of dark cars chasing each other. And they're all kind of dark. And they all at glance kind of look the same, right? That can be really tricky as well.
You mentioned geography and just like how important that is to any action sequence. And if you look at like the big action sequences that have stood the test of time, like the truck chase in Raiders of the Lost Ark, for example, that is a clear geography. Everybody's going in the same direction. So you as the audience, you don't have to do any work yourself to try to figure. You just sitting there and being entertained.
Yeah. And so it's not just the editor's fault. It can be the director's fault, the second unit director's fault, a lack of vision on how to make it cohesive, that kind of thing. And I think in Mark Forster's case, he doesn't understand action. He's never done an action movie before. He's going to hire the guy from the Bourne movies and say, just litter rep, guys, do your thing, and have a good time. And I'll just, we'll figure it out later. Which is why I think there's sequences, like especially the boat sequence in that movie, where I think they're missing shots. I still don't know how the boat flips over the other boat at the end because they're missing shots. Yeah. They're missing the shots that convey that. I mean, that's what you get when you show up on set with a beat sheet and you haven't like really clearly revisited out in storyboards or something else. Yeah.
There's a reason why they didn't just invent Hot Wheels for kids. You get your stunt coordinators, get them all in a room with those play sets, man.
To show another visual aid.
Well, there you go.
I have actually directed a movie about 10 years ago called Drivers Ed Mutiny. It had a lot of car action in it.
Nice.
This movie is basically, it's on YouTube on my channel. Just type it, do the whole movie for free.
There you go.
It's basically like imagine Breakfast Club on wheels is the best way I would describe it. About these
that's awesome.
three teenagers who hijack their driver's ed car, this Volvo here, and drive across the country on Route 66 to try to avoid, the cops basically. And it's pretty good movie. It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free.
There you go, people.
Well, I know what I'm doing today.
I mean, that was fun because I got to do that firsthand. Obviously, nowhere near the complexity of a real car chase, but there were car stunts here and there. And I often found, Hot Wheels were the easiest way to do it because it's the way to get everyone on the same page about you're going to be here and I'm going to be here and to be safe. You're going to go right here and I'm going to go here. And that kind of thing, and it was fun. I did some stunt driving on that movie. I was nice.
Well, there you go. As a matter of fact, man,
the few car stunts we had, that was something that I got to do, but also being able to plan it out, and that was very storyboarded. I definitely found the storyboarding and Hot Wheels is the best way to get everyone on the same page. Yeah.
It's awesome. We mentioned before, like, favorite Bond chase, favorite movie chase. What do you think? There's been so many from the invention of the car and
Yeah.
filmmaking. But what do you think is probably hands down the best movie about cars?
Oh
Not
gosh.
necessarily doesn't have to be action
No pressure here.
or chases but just something that like speaks to you as a lover of cars that you look at and go, yeah, that is the car movie.
Um, well, I have a sentimental favorite and the favorite I would say in general. So Steve McQueen did this movie, not Bullet, after Bullet, called Le Mans, which is
Yeah.
about the 24-hour Le Mans race. And Steve McQueen was a huge car guy and an avid race car driver. He actually was a accomplished race car driver, which is why he made this movie. He put his entire fortune on the line to make this movie. It lost a ton of money.
Yeah.
It is a movie that I would not recommend unless you're into cars. It is. And he wanted it to be a no BS racing movie. There's not much drama. There's barely any dialogue. It's mostly 90 minutes of just cars racing around. But it's from an amazing time. I think it was made like 1972 or 3. Amazing time of car racing where there weren't that many regulations on how you can make the cars. It was Porsche versus Ferrari. And the movie is just a great. Michael Lebrun, who did the score for Never Say Never Again, did the music for the movie, and it's way better than his score in Never Say Never Again. It is an amazing score. So most of the movie is just watching these amazing 70s race cars, and no CGI, no back projection, all done for real. Steve McQueen put a ton of money into it with his production company. No one liked it, but it's becoming a cult. He lost
a cult movie, yeah.
But now it's like a cult movie among cars. So if you're into cars, that's the one where I think the entire movie encapsulates cars really, really well. The sentimental favorite for me is going to be Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
1977 Disney movie with the Love Bug. And the reason that is, of all the things that got me into cars, that's probably the thing that I put the most credit or blame on is that movie. That was my favorite movie as a very, very little kid. That's the one with Don Knotts.
Oh yeah,
and he races through France.
I remember it. Yeah.
And that movie is my favorite of the classic Herbie movies because there aren't any really scary scenes or any disrupted. The first movie, Herbie tries to kill himself by jumping off a bridge.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
There's not really any upsetting scenes.
All the dark themes of Herbie.
Yeah, Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo is just Herbie racing the entire time. Pretty much.
He's gambling. I'm just joking.
No, he doesn't do any of that. But it's just him. It's him on this transcontinental race, I think they call it, through France. And it's just a lot of fun. And Herbie is this real car. It got this idea that like cars can have personality. And to me, the cars I've always loved the most personally are the ones that have a personality. A lot of cars are, like your average day Toyota Camry, they don't really have personality. They're just a way to get from point A to point B. I prefer cars that have some flair, some style, some personality to them, like a Corvette or even the BMW Z3, that have a little bit, there's just something about it that just brightens your day a little bit more than your average plain Jane a vehicle. But yeah, I can still drive them every day because they're comfortable enough and reliable enough. I would say those two are like my sentimental favorites. Car movies.
Oh, nice.
And actually, even as an adult, you can watch Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, and the car spotting is amazing because there's an entire race full of other vehicles that he's racing against. He falls in love with a Lancia. Herbie does.
Okay.
It's a really delightful movie. Yeah.
I think it's on Disney Plus. I'm gonna have to
I'm certain
rewatch it. Yeah.
Obviously. And,
yeah. So I guess a good way to bring things to a close. What do you want to see? Well, two things. What do you want to see from the Bond franchise, and what do you want to see with the future of Bond cars in the films? If you had to pick.
Gotcha. I mean, I always, as much as I love the Lotuses and the BMWs, I do think that the first Bond car that had a real impact was the Aston Martin DB5 in the history of the series. I know his first car technically was the Sunbeam Alpine, that little blue convertible he drives, Dr. No, but that's not really that's not how I look at it. The car that made an impact and made the car part of the James Bond formula was the Aston Martin DB5. from that point on, it was noteworthy if the car was very noteworthy part of the film.
Mhm.
And so to me, Aston Martins have always been part of the James Bond legacy. So I hope they stick with Aston Martin, and I honestly think that they will. I think at this point, once they went to Die Another Day, I feel like Aston Martins have appeared in every Bond movie, and they probably will. And James, and it's such a great marriage. Also, Aston Martin as a company has really embraced that as part of their legacy. They've made special James Bond editions of their cars. You could buy. And I just feel like I kind of want to just see him continue with Aston Martin. It just fits so well. The personality of Bond fits so well with the personality of Aston Martin. Is this British, this fancy British sporty vehicle, luxurious, that's very, fine living, and that to me is fits Bond. What I want to see Bond do is go back to more fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of with the Doom director. I unfortunately
no, I don't think it's going to go in that direction.
I don't think they will go this direction with Denis Villeneuve, right? I think his movies. He's never made a fun movie. All of his movies are kind of dark, very well made. I appreciate him, but they're always very kind of dark. I'm personally kind of over the darker Bond movies, and I hope they go back to the glitz and glamour of at least something like, I'm not saying like go full Moonraker, but like like GoldenEye. That had these moments of levity and goofiness. That's sort of what I hope they go for. To me, GoldenEye really got the formula really right.
It's a
in
great
a modern Bond movie, or something like Far Eyes Only, right? You have the serious stuff, but you have the levity. I just want to have it back. At the very least, let's have Bond be happy to have his job. I don't want him to go rogue anymore. I'm so sick of him going rogue. I want him to, a return to tradition of he goes in, he speaks to M, he gets his mission, gets his Q gadgets, and off he goes. Like, a return to a classic form, I think, is what I am really pining for. And that's what I'd like to see, but I also don't know if they would.
And not being dead too. So that's
yeah. No kidding. The guy I would cast would be Henry Cavill.
He was good.
Watching Man with the Uncle, I think that's like, to me, the kind of Bond that I miss. The kind of light, quippy, fun. He likes his job. He's not tortured.
Escapism.
What's that?
It's escapism. It's just we want to. We're worried about all this crap in our daily lives, whether it be the news or jobs or whatever it is. When I put on a James Bond movie, I don't want to spend 2 hours with the guy going, "Oh my God, my life sucks," and this is really hard.
We definitely got to that point by the end of Craig.
So that's what I'd like to see the series go. I don't think they necessarily will, but
it depends.
That's where I would like. And you never know. Maybe Denis Villeneuve he has said that he is a big James Bond fan.
Yeah, he respects the traditions. That's one thing.
Yeah. So what gives me hope is that. And in the way that Sam Mendes, I do not like Spectre, but I think Skyfall is a terrific movie. I think that, not to get on a tangent, but I think Spectre didn't work very well because he was not. Mendes works really well when he plans things out, and he has everything very carefully scripted, storyboarded, figured out. Spectre was because of the leak of the scripts and all these other problems. He had to kind of make it up as it goes along. And he's not the kind of director like Chris McQuarrie in the Mission Impossible movies that can do that. He's very much I need to plan it out and know what I'm doing. And I think that's a big reason why Spectre doesn't work, especially the last act. They had to just make it up as they're going along. But Sam Mendes is a guy who inherently knows and understands Bond, was a Bond fan, and you can tell, at least in Skyfall, you can tell that he understands and respects the formula pretty well. And I'm hoping that Denis Villeneuve, as a guy who grows up with Bond, inherently gets the formula and doesn't stray too far off of it. But we'll see. I'm hoping that's that's what we're in for. It's like another
one hopeful element that, and a few of our friends were even pointing out when they announced Stephen Knight as the screenwriter. A lot of folks were saying, "Well, we got Villeneuve, we got Stephen Knight," and all the movies that I saw and projects that I'd seen Stephen Knight that he was a screenwriter on, like Eastern Promises, for example. It was very dark, very heavy stuff. Excellent,
feel-good movie.
Good. But they're not feel-good movies. But then our friend Alex Lamos pointed out that there's, I think it's on MGM, SAS Rogue Heroes.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard
Yes,
it's
I
very
haven't seen
fun.
it either, but he was telling us, and other folks that had seen it too said,
So it's very
man,
fun.
that is a perfect blend of espionage, action, comedy, humor. It's not a comedy, but it's very fun. It has a lot, it's a
Yeah.
great sense of humor about it. And I've seen clips from it, and it got me like really like curious about, oh, there could be a really, really good mix of styles here where we could have this big, epic, bombastic, Denis Villeneuve kind of
Yeah.
James Bond movie with a script that melds, that sense of fun
Yeah.
with, a grounded Bond. I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to go into space, but
Not yet.
Moonraker 2. No, I'm kidding. Fingers crossed. I mean, I'm very hopeful. So, I mean, I'm just happy there'll be some film soon. So, because there was a long drought. So you know,
I'm excited.
Oh,
I think it's going to be fun. I'm hoping it'll be GoldenEye 2, which to me
Yeah.
is a more apt kind
Yeah.
of thing where you're like, okay, there's a new creative team putting this
Yeah.
together. What are they going to do with it? Sort
Yeah.
of thing. And I think like GoldenEye, they're not going to take any massive risks.
No, because they want to
I
make
just-
cash on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just don't think they're going to really. They might go with the sort of unknown actor, maybe, but
Which is fine. Yeah.
yeah, I'm into that.
I mean,
But-
what gave me hope is that they took the guns out of those pictures and put them, and then they took those pictures down like the next day because of
Right.
the fan reaction was so bad that they
Right.
were like, we don't want to piss fans off. So
Right. No, I think that it'll be good. I'm also very excited about the video game.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Oh,
Because this is like the first video game in like what 15 years, something
Yes,
like that.
it looks fun. It looks super fun.
As somebody who's played just about every James Bond video game,
Yeah.
I think that's been a very key component that's been missing from the Bond franchise. I
Yeah.
got partly into Bond, as a lot of people our generation did, through the video games.
Mhm.
I think GoldenEye, the video game, the N64 game, was a big reason why the Pierce Brosnan era was so successful.
Mhm.
And it wasn't just that game. There was like games every year
Yeah.
for a long time.
oh yeah.
And, we've been missing James Bond video games since like what 2013, 14,
Yeah, it's been a while.
2010.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I forget,
since we had-
what the last one was.
You know,
too.
it was the
Legends?
really bad one that came out with Skyfall, the James Bond
Oh.
007 Legends.
Legends, yeah.
Oh,
which
where
like
he
tied
goes
it
through,
into
like,
the movies.
Yeah, that one was
Yeah.
really bad. It did not sell very well, and that
No.
kind of was so that's like 2012. We haven't had a
Yeah.
video game in
Yeah.
13 years.
Yeah.
It'll be 14. So it's
14.
like I think you need that because the danger of the James Bond series is that it kind of appeals to like old white dudes, basically. And you really,
Hey.
you really need, yeah. And it's like, but and
I
we're,
feel
and we're near the
attacked.
younger end. Honestly, we're near the younger end of
Yeah,
the James
I know.
Bond
Yeah.
fandom.
Yeah, I
A
know.
lot of them
Yeah.
appeal to older men.
Yeah, no.
And I feel like the video games was a great way to get younger people
Mhm.
interested in Bond. And as weirded out as I was, the 007 First Light is like this young Bond.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of young bonded out in a way, between all these proto Bond things.
Yeah.
I do think it was a smart move to try to get younger people interested in Bond.
Yeah.
Like teenagers these days, you trying to find a James Bond fan under the age of 30
Yeah, I
is
know.
very, very hard because they haven't had video games. Most of the merchandise and promotion are appealing towards to older men. If you go to a 007 store, first
Yeah.
of all, good luck affording anything underneath
Yeah,
the age
yeah.
of 30. It's like, who are the
Crystal
people,
things, yeah.
right? Who are the people who can afford $300 for a swim trunks
Yeah, I know.
at the 007 store? It ain't younger.
Or even the
It's
affordable
old
things with the
men.
shipping
It's
and
old men.
handling out of
Yeah.
there. It's like almost twice as much.
Yeah.
So I really hope that I hope that this series can, for longevity's sake, it needs to appeal to more than the old wealthy men.
Yeah.
It needs to
No,
appeal
we
more.
totally agree.
So I'm excited for the video game because I think it's one of the few products we've had that really does feel aimed at a younger audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. While still, having all those references and traditions that keep, the old school fans, guys like us and older folks interested. And, we, our friend Jay Sadowski at James Bond Confidential just bought his first PlayStation because
okay.
he wants to play
That's
First
nice.
Light. He's
Look at that.
excited.
There you go.
He wanted to get like there's like this new, I guess it's like if you buy the PlayStation, you get like Golden Gun replica or something.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
I
they're
saw
If
hyping
that
you
it
buy
up.
online.
the
Like
physical copy, yeah, because we've thought about
yeah,
this too. If you buy the physical copy, you can buy just a normal physical copy for like, I don't know, 50, $60. But if you
yeah,
spend like 200 or something, you get
Nice.
like this special thing with like an
Nice.
actual Golden Gun,
yeah.
which
Pretty
is
pretty
neat.
sweet.
We
Yeah.
thought about it, but we just like, man,
You're like,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
and
I do all my gaming through Steam, so I thought, well, where am I going to put it?
right.
So
Yeah.
and
So,
what's cool too about this new game is the people that made it make the Hitman World of Assassination.
which we are,
So
my wife and I are playing currently to
Oh,
prepare
cool.
for it because we've never
yeah,
played
man,
Hitman
I
before.
got hooked. I downloaded the demo out of curiosity because a couple levels are free,
Mhm.
and I just spent like a good couple days instead of working doing that. And so it was on sale, and I went ahead and just got everything for it. And the Lashif level, the Bruce
Yeah.
Lee level,
World of
and oh my
Assassination.
God, I am so excited. If First Light is anywhere near what World of Assassination is, it's going to be a
Yeah.
great, not just James Bond game, but also a great video game. And
Yeah.
when you were mentioning too about how it's a great hook for younger people, younger generations to get into, my brother and I tried to get he's 10 now, but when my nephew was 8, we were like, hey man, you want to watch a James Bond movie? He's like, that's for old people, dude.
Well, there
And
we go. That, to my point.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he wasn't trying to insult us. He straight up was like, "That's for like old folks. That's not for me." But then he got into it because there was that Apple game Cypher. It was like Metal Gear, so it was like
Wow.
that
Really?
stealth game.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I had that for a bit, and he was playing that, and they had You Only Live Twice levels with Little Nelly and stuff, and all of a sudden he's like, "What movie is this? I
And he
want to
won't.
see that. I want to see the helicopter. I want to see." And he kind of
Yeah.
got into it, and also with the new Road to a
Yeah,
Million
I was gonna mention. Yes,
series. Yeah, we
I
talked
mentioned.
about that
Yeah.
last time and how he got way into that and got way into the movies, more curious about
Yeah.
the movies through that too. So
Yeah, no, it's encouraging me now. Granted, I don't know if Road to a Million if they're going to make any more, but
I
I
don't know.
thought the second season was
I
a
liked
million
it.
times better than the first one.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It
I
was
thought it
fun.
was good. Thanks to Bruce Fierstein
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
for helping out. I don't know if he gets all the credit, but it couldn't have hurt.
I think it
felt,
definitely helped the show. It
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
helped.
it felt
yeah.
Liam Urbani, and I had way better time watching the second
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
I think it was like, when I got into Bond in the 90s, it was a multi-pronged marketing push. There were a lot of ways that you could enjoy Bond.
Yeah.
There were comic books. I guess there are comic books
Specials.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were comic books. There were, there's the James Bond Jr. cartoon. There was
Yeah.
which got my wife into the series actually.
Wow. Okay. Well, that
There was
served its purpose then. So
yeah, and then obviously the car stuff.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Bond was kind of everywhere, and of course the video games I think were the number one push outside the movies of like getting people interested. So I think that I see lots of positive signs in the future with this fresh team kind of moving everything along. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah.
I'm optimistic. So
Same here.
So there are fans that aren't, but I always am. So I mean, I don't want the franchise to be done. So I want it to go on.
And the good
and
news
on,
is we've still got 25 older films that we can always rewatch and enjoy.
There we go. Yeah.
So
I always want more. I always want more. I always want
yeah.
Bond, and man, especially personally, I did not like the last two Bond movies. It's been a long time since I've been to a Bond movie that I really enjoy rewatching. So more, please.
I remember, and this is the last thing I'll say about No Time to Die. When it was over, my wife and I went, and literally there was just like silence at the end. Like I don't know if the audience like knew what to make of it, but my wife was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "I'm fine." They're gonna. She acted like I was gonna start bawling, but I was like, "They're just gonna start." I knew they would start all over again, but I don't think people, if you're not a hardcore fan, they thought he was really dead and that was it. So I don't know, but it was silence, which is not the reaction I think you want from a Bond film at the end. So I don't know,
agreed.
But fingers crossed, right? So
yeah.
Well, Brad,
from here in my book, so I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Brad, this has been wonderful. We really enjoyed talking to you.
Great talking to you as always, guys. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
And look forward to seeing you guys at the next event.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be there for View to a Kill.
Yay, cool.
Or two.
Nice.
I've never seen that on the big screen.
Me neither. So it'll be
that'll
fun.
good.
Very excited to see that super 80s. To me, the most 80s of all Bond movies.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see it. And a great movie for car watching. As someone who
Yeah.
loves 80s cars, there's a lot of great cars even in the background of that movie. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that one.
We screened the trailer for it at the last film, and the crowd went nuts. So they were into it. So that'll be good. So yeah.
See you guys there, if not sooner. So much appreciated.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Man, thanks for joining us.
All right, we'll talk soon. Okay.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye bye. Bye bye.